to this learning video tutorial. This is Richard from HSK EdTech team. This video tutorial will give you a brief introduction to creating a multiple choice ungraded quiz using the Canvas VLE system. Now, before we start learning how to create a multiple choice quiz, there are some important things you need to be aware of when creating an ungraded quiz in Canvas. I want to start off by briefly highlighting these key things you need to be aware of. Now, what's the first one? Canvas can enable you to create a graded quiz or ungraded quiz, sometimes called the practice quiz. What's now the two differences? Graded quiz allows marks to be saved in the gradebook that can be counted towards a percentage of the final module mark that can be used as part of your summative assessment for the module. Ungraded quiz. In Canvas, ungraded quiz is called practice quiz. With this type of quiz, the results will not count towards the final module mark. A column will also not be created in the gradebook. Ungraded quiz may be used as a means of formative assessment, for example, such as monitoring understanding on a given topic or lecture. Always use ungraded quiz as part of your formative assessment, whereas the graded quiz normally as part of the summative assessment. So that's really the two key differences. There are two main parts when creating an ungraded quiz in Canvas. The first part is adding the quiz setting details. The second part is creating the quiz questions. Now, these two parts are very important, especially when you are beginning creating a quiz for the first time in Canvas. So part one is adding the quiz settings, that is the settings that will govern the quiz that you are setting up. Then the second part is creating the quiz questions. I know there are other things you may do when creating quizzes in Canvas. However, to make your quiz making process easier, you just need to remember the two parts I'll go through in this tutorial. So that's literally what I'm going to do in this tutorial, to go through how to add the quiz settings and then start creating the quiz questions for our multiple choice quiz. Now, when you are ready to start creating the quiz, of course, you need to go to the Canvas module where you want to create the quiz. Now, this is where I want my quiz to go. So what I'm now going to do, as you can see on these links that we've got here, what you need to do, you need to click on quizzes. Now, when it comes up, of course, you are going to see, if you've ever created quizzes, you will see some, but I'm assuming you may be doing this for the first time, so you won't see anything here. So that's what I suspect. If you've never done quizzes, you won't see anything here. But what I need now to tell you what's the next step. What you're now going to do, you need to click on this red button here that says quiz. Now you will then see what I am now seeing on my screen. So this is really what I want you to be looking at. So you can see here I've got details and here questions. So now in details here, that's where we are going to be applying all the settings to do with our quiz. So the first thing is I'm now going to put the name that is going to be used to identify my quiz from others. I'm just going to call this maybe RMA quiz practice. Actually, I'll call it practice 5. I think I've got 1 to 4 practice. So this is my, so you need to give it the name of what you need. So that's really what that step is about. Now, once you've given the name, the next step, you are going to give an introduction to the students who are going to be doing this quiz. It could be so simple, maybe complete these questions on computer components. This quiz will test your understanding of components of a computer. Please complete all question. So it's up to you. You do anything that you want in the introduction, but I'm just making sure this tutorial is not so long. So there we are. So first it was to give the quiz your name. You've given it a name. Next bit is to do the introduction. So we keep going. So this details page is just going through so many different settings. So here we are. Quiz type. What type of quiz do you want to create? I'll click on this drop down here. I want to create a practice quiz. Remember, we say practice is for formative. No marks are going to be awarded. You can award marks, but they're not going to be appearing in the module mark gradebook. So I'm now making you know what I did, a practice quiz. So what's the next step? The next step are some of the things that I would say are optional. You don't have to do them to have a working quiz. They're really optional. So I'll just briefly go through them to tell you what it means. So now shuffle answers, what this button does, if I actually clicked on what it does, it randomizes the order in which multiple answers are going to be displayed for the students. This is a good option when you want to make your quiz more secure and avoid students copying each other. For example, if my next student is on question 1 and we are doing the same question and I see they clicked on the first option at the top, I'll always look at what they're doing and I'll make sure I don't really fail anything, because I know they are bright. I'll copy what they're doing. So what randomizes that, what shuffles does, it really can give them something else to what I've got. That's literally what it does, but you don't have to take it. So this is literally an optional thing. So what I need to say, don't click anything if you don't want. Now what time limit does, if you did this, now time limit option lets you enter time duration for the quiz in minutes. This is a good option when you want to make your quiz to be completed in a given duration. For ungraded quizzes, it's not really worth setting the time limit, because ungraded quiz, you're just putting it for the sake of assessing formative assessment. So it's literally up to you. So the next thing, this one is allow multiple attempts. Now allow multiple attempts can make the students to do this more than once. If you select this option, you will see that the following extra settings are going to appear. Before we were like this screen, now I've got this. So some settings in a quiz will actually give you extra options for you to fine-tune your setting. Now, so you may select either the highest or the other alternative. So on your screen here, it's up to you what you really want. Average literally is the average between the total score of each attempt. So it's up to you which one you want to do. But for now, I'm not really going to do anything. So it's your choice, but I'm just leaving it. So the next option I've got on my screen is this one here. So show one question at a time. So it's up to you if you want to do this. So I don't know. So one thing you need to know is when you're doing this, some things are not really worth it. So now let students see the correct answers. Do you want to do this now, or you want to do it on a certain date? Hide the correct answers. When do you want to do this? So these are some of the things that you now need to decide if you want the students to see the answers. Then it's up to you. Now what the next thing is this one here, require access code. Now by the way, show one question, lock these questions after answering it. Do you want to do this, or do you want them to go back? So all these things are normally self-explanatory. Now require access code, what this one does, gives you a password for the student to access the quiz. So do you want them to access your quiz using a password? It's up to you. So I'm not going to take these options. So now filter IP. Some of these, like I said, are beyond what you would normally use. So what filter IP does, it's an option that can be used if you want the students to take the quiz from a specific computer. For example, in a lab, filters can be difficult if you've never really done a computer setup. So this is really something for the IT people, but for now you just need to know that Canvas quiz can actually go beyond what you actually thought. So now assign. Now, do you want to assign it to everyone, or do you want to assign it to certain type of student? So it's now your decision. If you want to assign to everybody, in your module, the default setting is going to be everyone. You can remove everyone by clicking on the X, clicking inside the box. You see I've got other settings. So at the moment, let me leave it to everyone. Now here, the due date, when is it going to be handed in, is like you do in other Canvas option. When you choose the date, it's really going to appear. So for now, I'm not going to choose anything. Now, available from when? Is it available from when you've set it up, or you can make it available at a future date? And when do you want it to be available to? So sometimes it could be available after the due date, but anyone after the due date is late. So it's entirely up to you. Now, if you had extra options that you want, this add allows you to add extra. This, for example, you may have a date for another student who is ill, or an extension. So for now, I'm not going to really do anything here. So once all these options have been applied, you are now going to do the most important step here, is to save. Now you must have a student or section selected. Okay, for now I'm going to remove that, because that's the thing I was saying, you can't add those extra settings if you don't have the students. For now I'm going to stick to the basic settings. So you can say I've managed to save my quiz without really filling in most of this. The most important thing was the question name and these details. So the quiz name and these details here. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to make sure I save my quiz. It's now saving it. Now what I need to make you aware, do you see that this quiz is unpublished? It's not yet. That's why I didn't click on. If I go back to where I was, so if I edit, I'll tell you how I'm coming to this, but for now I need to focus on what I want to show you. I didn't click on save and publish, I just clicked on save. So I'll tell you the difference between save and publish. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to go to the question. That is now the next part. I say to you, first part is setting the quiz settings, and then the next bit is the questions. So that's now what I'm now going to go through with you. Now when you've clicked, after clicking on the save button, you're going to see this screen. As you can see on screen, it says this quiz is unpublished. Now the difference is this. If I now just go back to where we were, and I'm going to do this by clicking on edit. Now if you see at the bottom of our screen, we had two buttons, save and publish, and then save. What the difference is, if I clicked on save and publish, it makes your quiz available to the students, and you won't really need to do this because you are still creating your quiz. So I need to make you aware that it's saving at this time. Now I clicked on save, and that's how we came to this screen. But at the same time, there's something else I want to emphasize that's very important. That is to do with naming your quizzes. So now, and often people do that mistake. If I go to quizzes here, and you are going to see that I can identify my quiz. If I go to practice quizzes, and I've got it here, RM quiz practice 5. Now what if I had not given it a name? So I'm just quickly creating a short quiz here. I'm not doing anything, just to show you quiz. Now I'm not naming it. Remember, this is the part you're supposed to give a name. Most people skip this, so I'm just going to assume everything is perfect, and I'm now going to make sure there's one thing I don't forget. It has to be practice quiz, so it goes under the practice quiz section. So I'm now going to save. So after saving, remember I told you the screen comes, I will go to my quizzes. So if I now go to where the quizzes, they're here, you are going to see there's something called unnamed quiz. Can you see? That's why you need to name them. So I'm going to delete this. So just in case you've done a mistake, you can be able to edit and name it, but for now I'm just going to go to quizzes, get rid of it. This is actually something good, because if you came to this point and you didn't know how to get rid of it, this is what you do. So you click on these dots, and I'm not going to sorry, that's not the one. I'm meant to delete this one here. So delete quiz. So gone. So we go back to where we were. So I'm now going to click on my quiz. This is where we were before, so I'm now going to click on edit so that we can still continue working on our quiz. So first step we did was the details. We filled in our details. So now we are going to the questions. You're now going to start creating your question. Now to start creating the questions, what you need to do is you need to click on this button here, new question. Now when it comes up, of course, give the question a name. Maybe this is my question 1, and what I need to emphasize is what type of question is it going to be. For this tutorial, we are going to focus on multiple choice, but some other time it could be true and false, but for now let me just stick to my multiple choice questions. And what's my question? Maybe my question could be, what is the role of computer hard drive? That is my question. So now I could go to my answers. Now as you could see, the first thing by default Canvas does is to ask you to put here your right answer. You don't really have to. For this option, for this first example, I will do what it wants me to do, but then I'll show you you don't always have to put your answer as the first thing at the top. So my answer here allows you to store or save files. So then the other one is allows you to record audio. Maybe allows you to print documents. So the other answer, the last one, maybe allows you to write up your documents. Yep. Now of course the right answer here allows you to store your files, and the arrow that says green is already telling me that's the answer. Now if this was the answer, allows you to record, all you need to do is every time you pass your mouse around the option, it gives you these opportunities to change. So if I click on this green, now allows you to record. If this is the right answer, touch it. Now that becomes the right answer. Just assume the right answer was the last one at the bottom. So I can now just, you see my mouse is on the last option. Now there we are. So you don't really have to put your answer at the top. I know for this example here, my answer is the one at the top, so I'll click back. Now that is it. So now if I now say to you that I am done, that's it. So I'm now going to say something that's very, very important. Once you are done with your questions, you need to update question. You just need to update question, otherwise it's not going to work. Saving, as you can see here, will not save the question you've just done. So I'm now going to click on update, and now you can see that has been added onto my quiz. So you can see, if I want to see what I've done, click on it. I'm now going to go to edit this quiz. By passing my mouse on the quiz, I will see two things. I will see the pencil and the cross. If I don't want this quiz, I'll click on the cross to delete it. If I want to edit my quiz, I'll click on the pencil tool. You can only see this if you pass your mouse around. If I go out, you see I can't. If I now pass my mouse, now they're here. So that's one thing. How can I edit my work? I made a mistake. It's meant to be computer hard drive with no space. So I'll go back, edit. Now I'll go here, and now I'm able to edit. Of course, computer hard drive is space, but just in case you are in that position, one thing I now need to talk about is this feedback. Feedback is very important. it allows you to give feedback to the students so that they can understand. Now, one thing is this: you don't have to do it. You only do it if you think it's going to make a difference. But it's extra work, but at the end of the day, it adds value to the students. So now, if I click on this feedback box here for my correct answer, now I can be able to give feedback. I can be able to add a video. I can be able to insert a video or audio. I can take them to a link that gives them more details about computer hard drives. I can put a picture. It's literally up to you, but it allows them to have a better understanding of your quiz that you've just said. So if you think you are done, then you click on done, but I've added nothing there. So that's the same thing here. You may do the same. Allows you to record. Then I can say maybe the feedback, no, microphone is the one that allows you to record. So that helps the student to know, hang on, that's really not what a computer hard drive does. So that's literally what you do in there. Now, one important thing I need to show you here, you may have done that, but there are extra feedback options here. Now, those extra feedback options are there for extra value. So the first one, the green, that feedback comments for the correct answer. So you may want to give a general feedback for the correct answer that you think everybody needs to get, even if they didn't have a chance to read the feedback on the correct answer when they clicked on it. So now the red box here, this one here, feedback comments for the wrong answer. So if you get, maybe everybody who fails, they must be told, go and read about computer storage devices. Maybe that's something you want, you could go there. So the blue box, this one here, general feedback, maybe in general computer hard drives have gone big and I can get terabytes. So anything you find general. So what I've got here is feedback opportunities if you think you're in that position to give students feedback. So but for now, I think that's it. Now I'm done. I'm now going to click on save, just to show you what we've got as a one question. I'm now going to preview my quiz, and here we are. You can now see I've got one question. Now I'm not going to go back and create another question for you to see. So do you see, you may have two ways to go to that. I may go back to quizzes, but you can see here at the top, keep editing. So I'm now going to say keep editing this quiz. So I'm now here. So I'm now going to go to my questions. Remember, two tabs, details, questions. I'm now going to add another question. I'll go to a new question. Now my question 2 is question 2. What could I make? I'm going to be making up what is a scanner used for in computing. So the answer is allows you to scan. I'll make this easier to scan in documents, images, etc., and be able to store them on a computer. So scanner, another answer, maybe possible answer here could be allows you to scan viruses. Yeah, allows you to scan for new things. The last one maybe allows you to scan for storage information. Of course, like I said before, you don't have to put the answer at the top. At the moment it's at the top. If I wanted the answer to be the last one, I'll just come past my mouse and that's it. That's how you change the answer. So one thing I need to say, the right answer for this question is that one at the top. Like before I said, you want to edit your question, just pass your mouse around it and be able to click on the pencil tool, and you can edit that answer. If you think you are done, you click on done. So one other thing I want to share again is feedback. You don't have to do feedback, but if you do it may add value. So like I did before, I don't want to say much, but at the moment that's my question too, and then I click on save. Now you can now see we've got, if I say preview, we've now got 2 questions. Now do you see where's my question? I did this for a reason. The reason you don't have question 2, which is a very important thing that people do, you do almost 30 questions, you've spent 2 hours doing and don't have anything. Why? We didn't click on update. So if I go back and show you the mistake I did, and please do not do this mistake again. So I'll go back to my question, I'll go to our new question, and our question 2 was here, what is a scanner? I'm just going to make this one short, but at least you're going to learn from this mistake. A scanner is used, allows you to scan documents and store them. Then the other answer would be maybe allows you to, let me leave that one, allows you to scan for new ideas. The other one is allows you to scan for viruses. So what I really should say now, the mistake I did was this: I didn't click on update question, because most people are so used to saving. This is the problem. Do not save thinking it's going to save the question. So saving is saving the quiz. So what I need to do, update question. Now you are going to see we've got our 2 questions. If I now click on save, it's now to update the whole quiz. So if I now go to my preview, now in my preview I've got now the 2 questions next. Yeah, so if I want to see all my quizzes, remember in the settings, do you want to see all quizzes at once? Then you do that. So for now, at the moment, I just need to let you know we began off with these quizzes. I think there's an option here, show 1 quiz at a time. So I'm now going to untick that. I'm now going to save. I'm now going to go to preview. You can now see you got those 2. So it's up to you, play around with the settings and then you can feel more comfortable. So what I now need to do is, at the moment this quiz is still a draft, so I'll go back, keep editing this quiz. Now this time I may now say I'm happy with this quiz. I'm now going to save and publish. Yep, actually no, before I do that, I want to show you how it looks. I'm going to cancel this, how it looks in your quizzes. If I go to quiz, now do you see in your quizzes, because you called it practice, go to under practice section. So practice, do you see it has got this, so it's not yet published. You may click this, by the way, also to publish it, but I want to do it the right way. I'll go to my quizzes and I'll say edit, and I will click on here edit, save and publish. Save and publish is now going to make this quiz available. Do you see it's now published? If we now go to your quizzes, you are now going to find that it's got a green. So that's literally how we do the quizzes. So what I need to encourage you, we've got so many other tutorials to do with quizzes. Now the best thing for you to learn is start with 1 type of quiz, and then when you've had a go, you can then try to do other type of quizzes. For example, when we did the questions, we've only done the multiple choice, so maybe next time try 2 and 4. So look out for those tutorials, but for now I hope you've got the idea that to create a quiz, we begin off with our details that are going to control your quiz in terms of setting wise, then you start doing your quizzes. So there are other ways to create quizzes, but for now this is a tutorial to show you how you create a multiple practice quiz in a Canvas. Hopefully you'll join me in other tutorials, and hopefully this tutorial has helped you. Bye bye.